Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking time tonight, whether you're listening live or whether you're listening during the month. Tonight we've geared this program to the state of the city, January 2012, 2013, state of the city as it was at the end of 2012. I'm honored tonight that I have our council president for 2012, Dr. Gary Weber, serves on the city council. He's been on there now. You're in your 9th year, right?
Yes.
9th year.
Yep.
So you should have a lot of experience.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And of course, we're always honored to have our good friend and council member and Board of Works member, Fran Schomel. Fran, how many years on the council?
Mayor, I went on in the mid-90s. I fulfilled a term that Councilman had to leave because he was moving out of the city. There was a year left on his term. I was asked to fill that. I was a little bit reluctant. They said, "Oh, why don't you do it? Because it's only a couple of meetings a month." I found out quickly that it's more than 2 meetings a month, but I served that year and something happened. It got in my blood and I started running for election, and I've been successful 5 times now, I believe.
So you've been on there a good many years, and now this is your 2nd term on the Board of Works.
Yes, yes.
So you've got a lot of experience. Among us, Fran has the most experience. I've been your mayor for 5 years, starting the 6th year. And I served on the council 4 years before that, yes, with Dr. Weber and Fran Schomel. So we're going to try tonight to talk to you a little bit about our finances, a little bit about the city, a little bit about economic development, and then we're going to open the phones up, and if there's anyone out there that'd like to call and ask us a specific question, we'll try to answer, and we'll go on from there. So I'd like to start out tonight. In 2008, when I took office, and Fran and Dr. Weber, of course, took office on the council at the same time, we had a budget that was $13,732,820. That budget was made by the previous administration, and the mayor presents the budget the year before, so that's the way it works. We found ourselves in the first year. Vistion closed in March that year, and we lost $100 million in assessed value. In Harrison Township, about $5 a hundred. Then the legislature in Indianapolis decided they would put the tax caps in place. The first year was 2% cap on residences, and the second year we went to 1% cap, which cost at least $1 million, $1.5 million in money to the city, and of course also money to the county, to the library, to Glenwood, Indiana. Even with all that, we've been able to maintain all of our services. We still have a great fire department, great police department. We're collecting the trash once a week. We're recycling. We're doing yard waste. We've got everything pretty much on an even keel. When we took office in 2008, we had 33 policemen, 33 firemen. Tonight, we're doing the same job with 25 firemen, 25 policemen, and part-time policemen and firemen. We've been able to hold the budget. Our budget that was presented this year was $13,310,963. Still $400,000 less than we lived on in the year 2008. I think that's commendable that in the 6th year we're still $400,000 less than we had to spend in 2008. Financially, we're in pretty good shape. We're not perfect and we're not flushed with money, but we have the money to operate, and we don't foresee any layoffs coming. Just on finances, I'll ask you first, Dr. Weber. Do you have any comment on our finances? You've been right there on all the issues.
Well, I think our finances are in great shape. I mean, we're able to pay our bills. We pay cash for a lot of our, like the motors for the sewer plant. Isn't that correct?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
We paid for those. You know, we are paying our bond issues. You know, it looks very good. I mean, I'm pleased with a town this size and the things that have happened with the unemployment. You know, we're always in the news about a high unemployment rate, but they should also say when they release those figures that we're also doing really well financially. You know, we're able to cope with it. So yeah, I'm real pleased with it. It's good.
And Fran, your comments on this issue?
Well, definitely, Merritt. I don't think people realize it costs over $1 million a month to operate the city of Connersville, because our budget, as you said, is not quite $13 million, I believe, in 2013.
13,310.
And I think that's great when you look at cities around us, surrounding cities. I mean, they're really struggling in several areas. They're in debt, and we don't have that. And as Gary said, I think it's smart management that's doing it, and I appreciate the employees, and I appreciate the citizens of Connersville for all that they have helped us in providing the services for them.
Okay, so we'll just leave that for a little bit. We also found ourselves in 2009. We were informed by the State Board of Accounts that we were in financial trouble over at the utilities. And as you know, the history tells, we immediately took steps. We hired a consulting firm to help us, and we implemented a whole bunch of things down at the sewer plant, the water plant, and immediately tried to bring that around. And one of the things that we didn't like to do, but was done, the council had the foresight. They absolutely dissolved the utility board, turned it over to the Board of Works, and the Board of Works immediately began on trying to bring us around. And I can tell you tonight, Fran and I both serve on the Board of Works, and we are operating in the black, which we are required to, although we're not supposed to make money over there, but we have to pay all our bills. We have 2 bond issues we have to pay. And at the end of the year, last year in 2012, we had $169,861.07 more than it took to pay the bills. That's with allowing for depreciation, allowing for everything that had to be paid in water. In sewer, at the end of the year in 2012, we had $272,103.60. Again, everything paid, depreciation put in there to replace equipment. Not the percentage of depreciation I'd like to see, but a better percentage than we had in 2009 when we were absolutely not putting anything into depreciation. In our stormwater, we actually went down. We're down to $573,106.11, and that is because we did a great big sewer project up in the north end of town that has just been completed. That money comes from stormwaters. That's the $5 on your water bill, and that's the runoff that all the businesses pay. Fran, that's been pretty successful that we were able to pay cash for that project and move forward.
Absolutely. You know, you're mandated by the federal government to separate the sanitary and storm sewers. And we're well behind.
Fran, explain to them the difference between sanitary. Sometimes we talk like this. Tell them what the difference is between sanitary and storm.
Well, storm sewers is when the rains come and it goes down the storm sewers and the snow melts. And the way we're doing it now, that will go to an interceptor at 24th and Park Road, and then eventually go east and dump into the river, which the federal government is mandating that you separate the sanitary and storm sewers. Of course, the sanitary sewers from your bathroom and so forth, your kitchen sink, and that goes to the waste disposal plant, where it is treated and then finally dumped into the West Fork of the Whitewater River. But we continue testing it, send samples to Indianapolis for testing to be sure that the water, once it goes through the sewage treatment plant, is purified to that extent that it will not contaminate the river. So the storm sewers will be dumped into that area. Sanitary sewers will be dumped into that area, and the storm sewers will be dumped into the river. North of that, as I mentioned, we have the interceptor at 24th and Park Road, where we will be feeding our storm sewers to that. I think it's a 6-foot interceptor.
72 inch.
And so that will collect all of the water from the separation of the sanitary and storm sewers. And it's a great project. It's the millions of dollars. They give you several years to complete it. But all cities are mandated in the United States to separate their sanitary and storm sewers. And we're well underway. We're ahead of many cities.
Okay, I think that's great. We're going to stop here and we're going to go on to, we did some major things this year. Number one, we took on the James Roberts building. The City Council voted, I think a year and a half ago, to restore it. It was on the table to either be restored or tore down and make a parking lot. And the council voted to restore it. We then asked our park superintendent to come up with a cost that he thought would be the restoration. It needed windows, heating, air conditioning, rewiring, plumbing, bathrooms upstairs, and handicap accessible. Those are the major things. So he got that ready and presented it to the council last year, and the council appropriated $75,000 to get that project started. The list that he gave us was $159,000 and some change. We're to the point now where we're about 80% complete, and at the last council meeting we asked for $61,964.25 to come out of the riverboat fund. And would you like to tell the folks the difference, Dr. Weber, about the riverboat fund compared to the tax fund?
Well, the riverboat fund is money that we get from Lawrenceburg from the gambling, and it's actually free money to the city. You know, it's money that we can use. We can't use it for employees, that kind of a thing, but we can use it to buy equipment. We can use it for things that we normally need but don't have the money to use it for. So riverboat money is a gift. And you know, there for a while, you know, you'd love to see the figure go up and up. We had all this money in riverboat, but that really did us no good. I mean, you know, we needed to use the money to really help better the city, you know, buy trucks, buy an ambulance, things we couldn't have done without it. And a lot of cities don't have it. And so as time goes on, you find that leaving the riverboat money in an account really does you no good. I mean, you need to use the money so the people of Connersville will have a nice park to reside in, or you know, if they get sick, they could depend on a nice ambulance to come and get them, not one that's going to break down on the way. So that's what we use the riverboat fund, and I think we did the proper thing. Excuse me, I had to scratch my neck. We did the proper thing to allocate that money last time to finish the James Roberts building, because it's a beautiful building. You know, I forgot how pretty it was, and you know how stately it is until I actually had gone in there, started looking at it, and I just remember the days during the free fair when you go in there and all the, you know, remember how all the people had their arts on the wall, and they would have the red ribbon and the blue ribbon, and you know, it was so cool. And I just forgot about that, you know, and kind of brought memories back about. I just remember all those things there, and so it needs to be finished. It needs to be done by the bicentennial if possible. And for all of you out there that haven't seen it, haven't seen the progress on it, go over there. There are men working there every day, and they'll be glad to take you through it. Right. So that's what the riverboat. And
Fran, over the years, I'm sitting here trying to think. We've used riverboat money during my time for many different things. Can you name some things we've used riverboat? Your memory is always better than mine. I don't know why, but.
Well, we used it to buy some equipment, I know, some trucks and so on for the street department. I believe we used some of that for the pavilion, although we had some service clubs that really donated a lot of money to the pavilion.
Well, we did use some of the riverboat.
But I believe some was used on that.
Did we use it on the restrooms in the park too? I believe we did, didn't we? I
believe we did. The supplies, those were constructed by the Career Center youngsters, but we did supply them with all the necessary supplies. So yes, we used that for riverboat. We spent done a lot of improvements in the park with riverboat, and We put it to good use.
Didn't we also use it to tear homes down, houses down?
I can't remember, did we use
Yes, we
riverboat?
have used
Yeah.
riverboat for demolition.
Which we couldn't have done without it,
vacant
you know?
houses, yes,
And
right.
It cleans up the city.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in normal times, and not all cities get this, you have to be adjacent to a county that touches Lawrenceburg in order to be eligible for the riverboat money. And I've been at the state, I've been with the governor, and we're told all the time that if we don't use this riverboat money in the proper use, and we don't use it if we hoard it, it'll eventually be taken away from us. And there's been 2 or 3 bills introduced in the legislature to stop us from getting the riverboat money. So we want to use it wisely, and we want to use it. And I look at it as something you can give back to the taxpayer without dipping in and raising their tax rate.
That's right. I mean, we've made a lot of progress with it. We get around $90,000 a year. I'd like to have Franklin County's $500,000, but because they're a bit closer to the casino. But we're happy that Lawrenceburg has included us in their distribution every year.
Yeah, we're one of 11 counties that get that. Well, anyway, I think we've bought some police things out of that over the years.
Yes, we have.
We bought some things for the first aid unit out of that riverboat fund. I think we did most of the remodeling in the police department.
I think you're right.
Out of riverboat.
And I'm not sure if we used that money for the new exhaust system at the fire department or not. I know we had to find some way to keep the carbon monoxide out of the building when they would fire up the engines and the fire trucks to go on a run. And same way at the EMS unit building, we've had to.
We got a grant for the thing, but we've used it for many other things up there.
Yes.
That leads us right into another thing. At this point, we've got a grant in for a new fire truck. Our newest fire truck's about 20 years old, with the exception of the big ladder truck, and I think it's 8 years old now. We need a new pumper, and we put in a grant last year. We should know by the 1st of March of this year whether we're going to get that money, and of course there's a match. We have to put some money with it. There's always a catch to it. We also have put in a grant for a new ambulance. The ambulance that we got now is 8 years old. The biggest problem with the ambulance, it's got an engine in it called a 6.0 diesel engine, and it has proved to be a bad engine in all the Ford trucks and vans, and we've struggled with it. At 30,000 miles we had to completely tear it down and rebuild it. It's been tore down again since that time. I talked to Phil this morning, and Phil says, you know, if it keeps going like it has, about every 30,000 miles you got to tear it completely down. It's down for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yes.
So I'm hoping this grant will come through and we can buy an ambulance to put over there. I've talked with the county commissioners. They share that project with us, and I'm hoping that we can do that. That's one thing I want to talk about. And Fran, you're very familiar with the projects that we share with the county. I mean, we work together. Would you kind of enumerate those?
Well, the grant writer is one, I know, and 911, of course, EMS, the animal shelter, the IT fellow that takes care of all the computers for the city and county. I'm trying to think if that's it or not, but I'd like to see more if it's possible where the city and county could cooperate. I know that's sort of a unigov thing, but I think it'd be great if there'd be other things that perhaps we could look at. Maybe a committee should be formed to study the possibility of cooperating in other areas. I think that would be a good thing to do because it would save money in the long run. Not many counties cooperate that way, but it's worked very well here in Connersville and Fayette County.
We share economic development. City funds part of that, county funds part of that, and we share that together. And as he said, the animal shelter, the county runs it, but we pay half the cost. The first aid unit, the city runs it, but the county shares half the cost. We're just doing pretty well with that, and I think you're going to see more of that. We've been talking to the county commissioners. We have 2 new commissioners, so we've been talking with them, feeling them out, seeing what they'd like to do. When we had the first snow and ice this year, it kind of hit us by surprise one morning. It wasn't a lot, and the county came in. They were ready and had their trucks loaded. They came in and sanded the hills for us and salted the hills just to help us out because we were over there loading sand and salt. That's cooperation. The other thing that we do on a regular basis, at night when the county needs help in the county, our police officers, it's called mutual aid, they call for help, and rather than risk a county officer's life, we send a police officer to help. We also do that with the first aid unit with Brookville and Laurel. We help them. We send a medic down there several times a month to, we don't go all the way to Brookville. A lot of times we'll meet them right at the county line and transfer the patient, especially if it's a real critical patient, it's going to be airlifted. So we work together. We use Rescue 21, and our fire department, we do mutual aid with all the rural fire departments, and they do with us. And an example of that is when we had the big fire down on Main Street this fall. While we're fighting that fire with our firemen, Everton and Bentonville will send a truck in to be on standby to respond to other calls. And on the same note, why we go out in the county, you know, if there's a house on fire at Hanson Meadows, we can be there in minutes where it might take Everton a little longer to get there because they have to come in from their homes, get in the truck and come. So we do that mutual aid back and forth to each other, and it works real well. We don't charge each other. When the big fire was downtown, we actually did mutual aid with Richmond. We've done mutual aid with Cambridge City. They'll come down and bring a pumper, and the big fire, they brought a ladder truck, and they don't charge us anything. They just go back home, and we say thank you. It is courtesy. We usually fill up their diesel fuel tanks before they leave to go back home. But I just think that's great, the way communities help each other. And when you see those disasters on TV on a big scale, that's what they do. The communities all come together. But we do it on a small scale several times a year to help one another. Some of the problems we got I want to talk about before we go into economic development. Our streets, we know, are in need of repair, and we only get about $200,000, $210,000 a year for blacktop, and we try to stretch it. I try to do a little bit in each part of town that needs it. Last year we were able to do Eastern Avenue. We did some up in 23rd Street and Indiana. We did some up in the North End. We try to spread it out so everybody gets a little help, and then we try to pick the worst streets. And the county or the city council has the charge to bring in streets in their district that they think are bad. But I wish we had about $500,000 because we could use it. The other thing that would be nice if we had money to alleviate these bad homes and properties. And as you guys both know, most of those are held by banks and mortgage companies, and they leave us with it, and we can't even find the mortgage company. They walk away from it, and we're stuck with it. Do you have any comments on those issues? Well,
I think we're doing a spectacular job of getting the really bad homes torn down. You know, it just takes so long. There's so much bureaucracy. Thank you. And you have to cut the red tape, and our attorney is going through it all the time, you know. And so yeah, and we have the riverboat money. We've torn houses down with the riverboat money, and I think we're moving along. I mean, you know, I think as a council and as a town, we're doing a great job tearing down the houses for probably half the cost. You know, our own men are doing it, and they're doing a fine job unless it's a real dangerous situation. And yeah, I also wish we had more money to tear homes down. You know, I don't think it's the money so much as it is the time it takes to get them
the procedure you got to go through to get it. And then even after you get it done, the property still belongs to the owner, and we've got all that against it on a, you know, it's a tough deal.
It is.
I hear about cities that have to tear 30, 40 homes down, or up in Detroit where they tear blocks and blocks of homes down. So I guess maybe we're not so bad off. We just do the worst ones. And what do you think about cooperating more with the county? Maybe streets and highways could work together more, use equipment. I know we've talked with county commissioners on that.
Well, I think that'd be a great idea, because it just makes sense to me that we cooperate in something like that, because we both do the same jobs, both have the equipment to do that work, and I would really like to see the street department and the highway department for the county cooperate more, and I think it would benefit everybody. So whether that becomes a fact, I don't know, but it would be a move in the right direction, in my opinion.
And I think some of the county people feel that way too. After all the streets inside the city are in the county.
That's right.
And if we had one street department, it would probably be a better deal and under one management.
Yes. I think it'd just be more cost efficient.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see it happen. So hopefully with the new county people, perhaps we can reach some kind of an agreement.
Right. Over the last 2 years, we have completely remodeled the police department. Now, it's not a Taj Mahal down there, but you two have been through it, and you know it's a far cry from what we inherited.
Well, it's functional as a police department. I mean, that's what a police department is supposed to be like. You don't need a fancy place because the policemen aren't there. They're out on patrol.
Right.
So you need a place for them to come in and make their reports and so forth when shifts change. Of course, you need a place for the administrators, and I think we've done that.
And over the next few months before the bicentennial, I hope to have 911 completely done. I'm working with the county commissioners. The new person in charge of 911 over there now is Frank Jackson. He was appointed by the commissioners.
Yes.
So I think Frank will be easy to work with. We've worked with him for years.
Right, and
very congenial.
He's if anybody knows anything about 911, he should, because
he's been county sheriff. He's
that's right,
been a police officer for 20, 30 years.
That's right.
So we will work with him and try to get that finished. One of the things that we did get done this past year that we haven't talked about, we finally have a new roof on City Hall. And today they were in the bucket truck over at City Hall working on the flagpoles, and Phil told me, he said, "Why is up in that bucket? What a beautiful roof." We have a 25-year warranty on a rubber roof, and we have 4 inches of insulation underneath the roof so the sun doesn't beat, and it's a white roof to reflect the sun away.
Yes.
And we have a brand new roof, so no more do we have to replace ceiling tile every morning. That came hard. Did we use river? No, we used tax money to put the roof
I believe
on.
so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what, most cities are using tax money. We're just a privilege that we have that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we're fortunate.
In the park, of course, we now have the new restrooms. We have the pavilion's been rebuilt. We painted last year. We painted the amphitheater, all the steel in there. That had been put up in '88 and hadn't been touched. And it was rusting real bad, and that's all been treated and painted, so that'll go another 10, 15 years. We've got the trails at Smalley Lake, and at the end, in the fall this year, we expanded the trails. And we got some really, really nice trails. Some of them walk along the river down there.
Yes.
You think everybody knows about Smalley's Lake?
Well,
I mean, that is a cool place. and if you out there haven't been there, I don't know if right now is a good time to go, but when it warms up a little bit, what a really cool place that is, just to take a walk, and they've done a really nice job. It's something to be proud of.
Sometimes my wife and I will go get a sandwich at noon, and we'll go down there and just park. And you ever park with your wife? Well, you don't have a wife.
I don't have a wife anymore.
No. You don't have a wife either, do you, Frank?
No.
But,
you want to park there together,
no.
Frank?
No thanks.
But it's really neat to go down there and eat a sandwich. And, there's a lot of people go down there, fish. They walk the trails.
Yes.
They have picnics. We got picnic tables down there.
That's nice.
And since the railroad has built their new building on both sides, it looks nice. And I'm just real proud of that.
Well, all those improvements were done at a very minimal cost. I mean, I think we got an estimate from a company out of Indianapolis, and it was in the thousands.
$700,000.
And this is ridiculous.
We don't even have 10,000 in it.
No.
But we've done it with volunteers, Boy Scouts. We've done it with park people that work, and we do it with our college kids and our part-time people in the summer.
Well, you know, talking about the park system, I mean, really, if you go to other towns our size and maybe a little larger, there are very few parks on our scale, I think. I mean,
I agree.
Our swimming pool is top-notch, you know.
And we're keeping it up. We're not allowing it to be.
It's beautiful, you know, and people get jobs in the summer there. All the different buildings we have there, the Miller building and soon to be Roberts building, you know, there are going to be additional parties that you can have there. It's, you know, even our amphitheater, I mean, it's really nice, you know.
Pavilion back to life. I mean, that thing, when the roof was torn off of that thing, I thought, there's no way. But that was brought back to life, and
vandalism is down in the park now, isn't it?
We haven't had any vandalism since we installed the security cameras.
Yeah.
Okay.
We continue to install more cameras. We're watching everything in the park. We have a room in the home where the park superintendent used to live just dedicated to security. We have a 75-foot tower that beams the signal all over the park. And before long, we'll be able to beam a signal to have a meeting in the park and beam it back to this station and put it on Channel 3.
See, that's another thing I was going to bring. Did I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
No, you go right ahead.
That was another thing I was going to bring up. Channel 3. I mean, again, go to another town our size or a little bit bigger.
They call and copy us.
Oh,
that's right.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you know, the camera back here, we actually are in New York right now.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the scene back here? I mean, really? There, right there. Jay Leno will be walking through there in a minute. But no, I mean, and the camera work and the trucks that we have to do the games. What other town do you see that you just don't? And you know, again, we're a town of 13,000 and some, 14,000
is what they're telling us, right, Fran?
13,481.
Yeah, and I mean, just think of the things that we have here that you actually take granted. I mean, you do.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, for Channel 3 you do, but I mean, you can look at the weather now, you know. Live pictures of the
every
downtown.
meeting you can see in your own home.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, a lot of good things.
I guess people might say we're bragging out there, but what we're trying to do is tell the people what to find, the good things and the nice things that they have that they should be proud of. And, you know, every town's got its problems. We have an unemployment problem. And our children, I was reading the paper today where we got such a high percentage on free lunch and free breakfast, but we're gaining on it every day. And we're going to get into that here in just... Right now, I think we'll just talk.
We're taking care of those folks. That's what I like. I mean, we realize we have a problem, and we are working to solve it.
Yeah, we're about halfway through tonight, and if you'd like to call in, it's 825-325-3245. 825-3245. He puts the clock in front of the numbers, so I can't see it. I guess he thinks I have it memorized by this time. But if anybody would like to call in and ask our president, our city council, I want to say county, it's city council, and Mr. Scholler or myself, any questions, we'll try our best to answer them. The projects that I've got down here that have taken place over the last year is, of course, we started the James Roberts building, and we're into it about 80%. It should be easily completed by Flag Day, and that was the day that was planned to dedicate the building. We're going to have the dignitaries luncheon in there for the bicentennial, and we really need to kind of stop. We have about a 60-person bicentennial committee. I've had them on this program, and they meet twice a month. They have subcommittees. They have a tremendous program planned for the 27th of June on through the 7th of July, and then there's several things. I think there's one in April, and there's something in October that's going to take place. But there's some tremendous things, and I think in the next week or two you'll hear about some nationwide entertainment's going to come here. But that is going to be a big thing, and that's the reason that the Roberts Building is so important, that's going to be our portion, our dedication, and we'll have a nice plaque up there with the people's names on that helped put this celebration on. Then the purchase of the Vistion building, you know, we offered it for sale. A company came in and put $200,000 down in earnest money and bought it for $4 million. They have now until the end of March to complete their sale. However, the $200,000 has been transferred to the city coffers, and it's in the bank. So regardless of whether they buy it or they don't buy it, it's there. We have put the automatic trash in. That was a long process. We purchased the truck and the toters, and I went over to the garage today. I spent about an hour and a half over there. It's going very well. The first couple of weeks when they were passing out the toters was difficult because they had college kids passing them out, and they didn't know who lived there, or they didn't know where the county line was in the city. If I was going to do it again, we would pass them out with our own people.
Yes.
But everybody told us it was better to hire this company to put them out, so that's what we did. But it's working real well. The one armed truck is going around, and I talked to at least 5 of the people that work over there, and they said, no more do we have to stand on zero weather on the back of a truck. No more when it's 90 and everything has a bad odor and maggots in the buckets do we have to stand on the back of the truck. We don't have to worry about glass in the bags and cut our hands. They are thrilled to death.
Well, I'm sure they are. The workman's compensation thing will
it ought to just
be eliminated, probably, because there were a lot of injuries suffered by those fellows.
Always we had injuries
Absolutely.
on that truck. Hurting your legs and your arms. And the national average was, they said you couldn't work on the back of that truck more than, I think, 11 years. I talked to a guy over there who's worked on the back of that truck for us for 20 years.
Gee.
And he said, I can still walk. And he's proud of it, and he done a great job. But now these people, and of course we told the people when we put the auto trash in, we knew we had people up for retirement. 1 retired at the end of last year, 2 have already retired this year.
Yes.
So we're halfway there, and we thought over a period of 5 years, 6 people would retire, which we didn't lay anybody off, and the truck takes its place. When you think of an automated truck at $269,000 or $239, whatever it was, taking the place of 6 people, that's a tremendous saving. But it is working. The first 2 days I got out and followed behind it and watched it work for several blocks. I wanted to be sure, and of course we still have a lot of calls. We've got some things to do. People need to turn that so that the silver bar on the front of it is facing the street. I think that's the easiest way to say it.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that yet. Okay, we have a call. Hey, we're excited. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
I had a question about the trash pickup.
You go right ahead.
I was wondering if you were going to have a heavy trash pickup before the bicentennial.
I think I'll turn this over to Dr. Weber. We always do a heavy trash. Will we have it before the bicentennial? Will you promote that?
Well, this is the first I've heard of it, but that's a good question, and I'm going to be political here and say, let me think about it. I'll talk to Tom, and I guess Joby would have something to do with it, wouldn't he?
Right.
And if it's something that can be done, I suppose we should do that.
How many years have we done it, Fran?
I think we've done it 3 or 4 years, and it's always done in the spring, so
Yeah.
it will be before the bicentennial.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we will be able to do it this year. Again, it costs us around $6,200, but it seems to be worth it, and
Yeah.
people look forward to it.
Ma'am, I think you got a good idea there. That'll help the town look nice before the bicentennial, won't it?
Yes, that's what I was thinking also.
Yeah. Well, you just heard from the president of the council and 1 member of the council. I don't get to vote, so that's why I asked them. And I think you can kind of count on sometime in the spring we'll do heavy trash. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for calling.
We can do that from Riverboat because the council has to appropriate the money, Gary. So
Yes,
you can
that's right. Okay, I just now did. Okay.
Usually somebody in the spring will propose that we go ahead and authorize, and then the Board of Works will follow it through and have it done.
Yes.
And go ahead, caller. Go ahead, and what's your question?
We did.
Hello?
Am I on?
Yes, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Gleaner's come out with some numbers about people that go hungry in this county. And the number to me was kind of shocking. He said 4,600 go hungry in this county every day, and 1,600 of those are children. And I was wondering, does the city do anything to help feed the needy, or does the city contribute, or does the city ever hand out any food or food vouchers?
I'm glad you called, because just last week, Thursday or Friday, we did a food handout at the Vistion plant, and we had to send food back to Indianapolis. We didn't have enough people come to get food. Now, we do it every month. We have a semi-load of food come in every month, and we hand it out. We advertise it in the paper, on the radio, and on this TV program on Channel 3, not on this program. And last month was shocking to me that we sent food back to Indianapolis, because it worried me that we let food go back. Will they send as much next month? So I'd urge people to watch that. It's really good food. I mean, it's all kinds of staples and just really good food, and you don't have to qualify in any way. You just go up there and sign your name, your address, and you can receive this food. They give you so much of this, so much of that, and it's really a good deal. Also, we've been feeding the kids when school is out. Through the school corporation, we've been feeding the children in the park. There's a church here that cooperates and feeds the children on Friday night. Yeah, the city is doing everything we can do, and I'm telling you, we get skids and skids of food out of a semi-truck. We've got a lift up there that we take it off, and if you'll just watch, we do it each time, and we have a member of our street department up there engineering it, and Gleaners is the one that brings it to us. I'm not sure about your numbers of people that go hungry. We don't want anybody to go hungry, and during the summer we do a lot of food programs at the park.
Yes, I've seen the food truck at where I live for the children.
Yeah. So we're doing everything we can do to see that nobody goes hungry.
Do you get enough volunteers to help, say, take it to people that can't come and get it?
I don't know if we're allowed to do that.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. I sent Mr. Job up to the Vistion plant when the food came last week. He hadn't had any lunch at all. He had worked all day because of the trash truck. He would be busy. So he picked up an apple up there and ate it. And the people that came from Indianapolis just about hit him for taking the apple. So it is very well run, but our people go up there and help people box it, carry it to their cars, especially for older people. I think he's even hauled people up there to get their food. And maybe we'll have him on here one of these evenings and talk about the way we're doing it. But we've got more food programs going on here than any city I know. I talk to mayors all the time, and we're pretty well covered through the school, through the church.
I'm concerned about that. I know in the past I've had to ask for help, and I'd hate to see the city not be able to help.
Right.
And in the past, I've also volunteered to hand out groceries.
Okay, you might call Mr. Job over at the street department.
Okay.
At volunteer, because I know he could use help. But I'm just hoping that the fact that we didn't use, usually all the food they bring we give away. This time we didn't give away all the food that they brought. We didn't have enough people show up, and I was a little concerned about that.
But yeah, I've seen these numbers. It's been some time back. It was on it's on a news program, and I thought, well, I know Fayette County's it's not one of the richest counties in the state. Probably it's set down below the lowest. but we can always feed the hungry, and
Right.
I'm just concerned about them.
Right, and then we have some other programs. Vonda Bishop over Christmas, I think, took care of over 200 to 300 children, got a pair of shoes, a piece of clothing, and a toy, and thousands
I
and
know
thousands
that.
of dollars went through that program. We also have the what's the other fund called, Fran, at Christmas?
Well, I remember years ago they give my children
E.W. Tatman, I believe.
Yeah,
is
the
one.
E.W. Tatman Fund. They serviced several hundred children, and so I think that our people are real giving.
Another
Well,
one.
I'm glad to hear it, because I'd like, that was a staggering number to me.
Right. I don't know where those numbers come from, but I can tell you
But
that.
they said that the newscast said they came from Gleaners Food Bank.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure about the figures. It was an estimated 4,600 go hungry, and 1,600 of those are children. You could recheck that through Gleaners, I guess.
Right.
Make sure that's
that
correct.
sounds real high to me, because I know what we're doing, and I know.
I thought, well, that's pretty good, significant chunk of this county.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That many people.
Yeah.
Well, another agency that helps is the Area 9 through the Senior Center.
Yeah. We have Area 9
and
through the
wheels,
Senior Center. Yeah.
Meals on Wheels, which are delivered to folks, and if they contact the
Well, then
Senior
I'll
Center,
pass
I'm
this
sure that.
information along to people, and I know some that should go and get it, that
Yeah.
go hungry.
But I urge you to call Mr. Job, and when they come in next month, see if you can help him, because I know it takes a lot of work to put that out.
Okay.
I've gone up
All right.
there, and I've been there when they do it, and all the people rush in at first, and you got to bag it up and help people get it to their cars. And so thank you so much for calling. I think that's a need we need to look at.
And I used to help hand that out, and it went.
Well, we'll keep right on top of that, and our school corporation is doing a wonderful job by furnishing those meals on the weekend and over Christmas break, and whenever there's a school break, they furnish hot meals to kids that don't have hot meals, and our school corporation does a great job.
Well, there's the Lord's Table also in the Salvation
Yeah,
Army.
the Lord's
I believe all
Table
those
for
are
really
helping.
people that don't have anything in the South End, and everybody contributes to that. So we've got a lot of programs here to help people. Nobody should go without eating.
Right. Well, I thank you for the information. Thank you for the time, and I feel a little bit better now.
Okay, thank you so much for calling.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
That's a great call, because
Yes.
I feel so strong that we shouldn't be handing out to all these other countries or any place else until we take care of our own. No
That's
American
right.
person should ever go to bed hungry.
No.
And but we
Was
have,
there a number to call if someone knows someone who's hungry? Is there?
they can call
the
they can
mayor's
call
office?
they can call the mayor's office,
Okay.
and I will get them in touch whenever Gleaners
Okay.
comes.
Yes.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
They can call Senior Center and
Yeah.
get help through their agencies.
Is that the food pantry at the courthouse, the Area 9, or is that a different one?
That's a different one, right? That's
Okay.
community sharing.
Community sharing. Mr.
I believe.
Gettinger heads that up.
Yes.
Dave Gettinger heads that up.
Yes. And I think they should contact the county for that information.
Yeah. I know at our church we collect different things on different Sundays. Like one Sunday we'll collect soaps, and one
Yes.
Sunday we collect cereals, and we give to that community sharing. Okay, have we used up our time? If you'd like to call and ask a question tonight, it is 825-3245. And call in and ask these smart council people over here a question.
Thank you.
But I want to spend I want to spend a little bit of time on economic development. The 2012 projects that, and I'm not saying now that the city and the county or economic development did all this, but we had a hand in it. There was a part. And I'm going to start with Keener Corporation. They've done a $5 million investment in Connersville, and they had added 64 employees. Stant Manufacturing has put in a $6.9 million investment and has added 59 employees. Again, the county and the city teamed together, put together a package. They were ready to move out of town, and We, within 8 days, we put that together, offered it to them, and they signed a contract with us that they will stay here 8 years and beyond, but 8 years for sure. GE Energy, used to be the blower company, has added $4 million in investment over there and are adding 20 employees. We just worked with the James Hamilton Lawn Care Specialist. It's going to be a retail and kind of a place like on the south end of Brookville, sells trees and plants and do landscaping. They made a $113,000 investment up there. SAPA has made a $2.5 million investment and are adding 64 employees up there. Carbon Motors remains on the horizon. We don't exactly know what's happening. We know they're out of this country right now showing their 2 vehicles that they have, and they still maintain an office in Connersville. We also work with U.S. Wireless, More Engineering, a lot of small companies that we work with, and some retail that we have added loans. There is loan money available through the USDA. If you like to call Fayette County Economic Development, we can give you those the ways to apply for those funds. On economic development, I've named the things that have taken place this year. People are always saying, well, what's economic development do? This is what we do. And we don't have a director. We have volunteers.
Yes.
And we work with those volunteers on a daily basis.
Wouldn't you say that there's probably not a day, well, a week that goes by that we don't get calls?
Absolutely.
From people looking for places to...
Just this last week, we heard about this big gun show out west, and we understand the gun manufacturers want to move to the Midwest where taxes are more comfortable, and we sent packets out there. We didn't want to spend the money to go out there, but we sent packets to people that we knew were going, and they passed those packets out. And today and yesterday we had responses from those packets, people interested in maybe manufacturing guns. We are working with a foreign company that makes stocks, wooden stocks for guns. We are working with them. We belong to Energize Indiana out of Muncie. We work with them on a regular basis. They are always out looking for jobs. We continue to work with the Chinese people that we've had over here. They've been set back because of the recession. They're working a small portion of what they would like to be doing, but we keep in contact with them. They've asked us to come over there, and I just don't want to go to China right now. Maybe you would like to, but it's a long, hard trip, believe me. Okay, we have a caller. Go right ahead. Go ahead with our caller. What would you like to ask?
Mayor, this is Phil from down Senior Center.
Yes.
And anyone that wants to find out about help from Area 9, I'm going to give you a phone number.
Okay.
It's an 800 number. It's 1-800-458-9345. And that's Area 9 office up in Richmond, and they have to go through there to get qualified to get the Meals on Wheels. And if anybody wants to come in and eat down at the Senior Center, they need to come into there and see me about that, and we can get that going. But usually they can get approved on the phone the same time they call to get the Meals on Wheels delivered to their house anywhere in Fayette County. Now, Area 9 is a 5-county area, which is Fayette, Rush, Franklin, Union, and Wayne County. And we serve an enormous amount of food to the public in our senior centers and different places, and we serve an enormous amount of Meals on Wheels food that goes out in the 5-county area. But if they call that number, that 800 number in Richmond, they can talk to them more up there and get approved, and we can get them started.
Okay, that's great. We had our caller, and he's telling us about these numbers, and we certainly don't want anybody to go hungry. Phil, I really appreciate you calling, and I know the food's good because you always have me down there at Christmas and eat with you, and I know how good that food is.
And you and Fran and any of the council members can come over and eat with us anytime.
Okay, I really appreciate you calling tonight, Phil. Have we got that number up on the screen, John? Okay, 1-800-458-9345. If you need meals or you know somebody, have them call that number and they sign up and we can get you a hot meal each day. Thank you, Phil. Thank you. Okay, we just got about 3.5 minutes. Where did the time go? We got any more callers? No callers. Okay. Closing statement, Fran?
Well, as you mentioned, I'm on the Board of Public Works and Safety, and I'm not sure folks all realize what they do, but our public safety part of that title is to provide police and fire protection, and the public Works Department takes care of the streets. We run all the departments of the city. We oversee all the operations, take care of the streets, the utilities, anything that is city property. We have jurisdiction
Fran,
over.
can I interrupt you? We have a caller.
Certainly.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Go ahead, you're on the air.
Is there any leads on the old Kmart building?
Is there any leads? Yes. The lead we had on the Kmart building fell apart because of the property taxes last fall, but it has come to life again, and the people that own the Kmart building have reduced the price, and they are now negotiating to put a store in there. I can't tell you anymore because he's just signaling we just have 2 minutes, but thank you so much for calling. Go ahead and finish, Fran.
I just wanted to say that the Board of Public Works and Safety is an important function. Mike Bishop is on, along with Ron Coldiron and Jane Oakley, myself, and of course you. You appoint the 4 members to serve with you. We were the ones that began the automated trash program. Once we come up with a project, we ship it over to Gary's people, and they either fund it or don't fund it. So we work with them. We meet at 5:30 on the first and third Mondays of the month, and it's an important function.
Well, we got about 1 minute, Dr. Weber. Can you give me a quick statement?
Well, I kind of say this every year. I'm looking forward to the next year, and I really thought we would land something by now. I'm going to be really honest.
We have. I just named.
Well, you did. I'm sorry. I mean something
We're not
new.
going to get
Something
a
new.
huge thing.
That's right. I thought we would, but you know what? The companies that you have named I could name a couple more, they're keeping this town afloat. They are doing very well. And the citizens here should understand that you know, for where we are, we're doing really well. We have a nice town. We have a nice park system. It's free, you know, and you should be very proud of it. The bicentennial's coming out. Enjoy it. You know, just like the gentleman said about the Kmart building, I'm sure the Walmart building.
We got people looking at that too.
And we have a new Walmart. Plus, they're going to look at the Walmart building. Okay. So, okay, thank you.
Okay. Folks, tonight we've tried to give you an overview with the President of the Council, Mr. Schomel, longtime member of the Council, member of the Board of Works, and myself. We've tried to tell you about your city. Anytime that you'd like to contact either one of these people, their numbers are advertised on cable TV. Of course, my number, the mayor's office, is 825-4211. We're glad to answer any questions that we can. Melissa's down there. I'm down there. We appreciate it. Thank you for allowing us to be with you in your living rooms, and thank you for looking at this over the next month. And we're just glad to be with you. I can't tell you exactly what's going to be on here next month, but I'm telling you, we try our best to bring programs. If you have anything you'd like to see on here, please call my office and tell me. So until next time in February, thank you so much. And from all of us at Connersville City, good night.